find what your children are passionate about, focus on that, and provide opportunities for them to grow. And sometimes it's like, oh, my kids don't like camp, or I don't want to send them there. Camp is such a great avenue for working on your social skills, your confidence, public speaking, and meeting new people and building that network. My parents invested so much time and energy in all of us. Like, I was in softball, I was in soccer, I was in stamp club, I was part of 4-H, I was part of so many activities. And as an adult, everywhere I go, I have people in different circles. Or if I need something, I'm like, oh, I know somebody.
Hello, and welcome to the Stroke It podcast. I'm Alday Townsend, your host. This podcast is for individuals that are wanting to grow personally and professionally. The podcast is going to offer mindset shifts, personal experiences from myself and guest. We're also going to provide some great resources, tools, and direction for navigating life. The goal is to inspire you and encourage you to take ownership of your life and begin living it completely fully today. Let's get to stroking it.
Hello and welcome to the Stroke It podcast. I'm Alday Townsend, your host. Today I wanted to talk about reflecting the past. I was just on a speaker panel and we were talking about marriages, and we're talking about relationships, and we're talking about parenting. And I thought that I would just provide a little bit of some thought process here when it comes to talking about reflecting on the past and inspiring that inner child that we all have, and especially at a younger age as well. And the reason I wanted to talk about today's topic was not because we just talked about it on a podcast or on this speaker thing, but the other day I had my in-laws over and I was looking for these modeling photos. I was a model way back in the day. My grandfather worked for Wellcraft Boats, and I wanted to find the magazine that had these in it. And I didn't find it, but I did find what was my briefcase as a child. And if you're watching this on the video, you can see here this little briefcase that I had. And I opened it up and I found checks. And then I found all my business cards. And so when I was a child, I actually wanted to be an architect. And the reason I wanted to be an architect is because I went to a private school and then I would play softball and I would get dropped off at this lady's office. Her daughter and I played softball together. So I was constantly around these architects. And I just found it fascinating how they were building and how they were drawing. And then I started drawing my own house plans, and I drew house plans. I would actually draw what the front of the house would look like, what all the landscaping would look like, what the pool deck would look like. And it was called Jenny's House Plans and Drawings. And then I also wanted to be an artist, and I was really great at art. I wish I still had all my art. I do not have it. My grandfather, for birthdays or for Christmas, and my grandmother would always buy me art supplies. And there was this art supply store downtown Sarasota off of Orange and Fruitville across from St. Martha's Church where I grew up. And we would always go there. And I just have all these fabulous memories. And I just never understood why, if I was so passionate about these two things, why my parents didn't encourage me or kind of lean into that. And I don't know if it was because maybe I didn't have the grades to support becoming an architect, or maybe I wasn't as focused. I don't really know why, but I started thinking of other kids that I know that are super passionate about arts or gaming or design and music. And the parents that I know, some of them are super, super supportive. Obviously, I own a child-based business, which is a music school. So I see a lot of people supporting those. But there's a lot of people outside of our community that they aren't supported. And I know of a young lady that was really into art and, her parents never signed her up for art classes or art camp. And I felt why not? Why not expose? Maybe it's not going to be a career, but at least it would be a hobby. And I feel like these hobbies can provide so much happiness and fulfillment and purpose. And it's a really great creative outlet. And I just started thinking, why not just encourage this and lean into it? And I know at times it can be super expensive, but those would be great gifts for grandparents or aunts and uncles to buy for the holidays, buy a gift certificate for summer camp or buy some art classes, or even create the time to go and take them. Take that off of the parent's to-do list. I know a lot of times parents are like, I can't afford it and I don't have time. If you do have a support system or you have family, this is a great opportunity for you to allow your family members to connect with your children, to fuel them, to provide for them, and create some really great memories like I have with my grandparents going to that art supply store. Those are memories I'm going to cherish for the rest of my life. We would do lunch. We would hang out together all the time. So I want to inspire parents that are listening today to lean into your child's hobbies if you're not. Find a way to make it happen. And if they have a dream, maybe there is a way they can make a career out of it. Fuel their passion, give them purpose. If you think about all the mental health problems and the people today, a lot of them are unhappy because they're living someone else's life. They're working for companies they don't care for. They're working long hours. They're maybe not making the money that they thought they would be making. And sometimes they don't even care about the money they're making because they hate the job so much they'd rather do without and become a minimalist. So I really want us to lean into what are we passionate about? What are some hobbies? How can you create a life doing those things as well to where you're fueled? And I always thought, like, I never thought my business, I mean, obviously I started my company and I developed a 135 and like a 10-year goal with the intent of potentially selling it in the future, but I never started it for the money. However, here I am, 9 or 10 years later, I make a really good salary. I'm able to do whatever I want on a daily basis. I didn't focus on the money. The money just came. And it came because I was so passionate about it. People could connect with that. They understood that. So I really want, if you're listening today, to lean in, find what your children are passionate about, focus on that, and provide opportunities for them to grow. And sometimes it's like, oh, my kids don't like camp, or I don't want to send them there. Camp is such a great avenue for working on your social skills, your confidence, public speaking, and meeting new people and building that network. My parents invested so much time and energy in all of us. Like, I was in softball, I was in soccer, I was in stamp club, I was part of 4-H, I was part of so many activities. And as an adult, everywhere I go, I have people in different circles. Or if I need something, I'm like, oh, I know somebody. And so if you think about your network, imagine creating your network at a age of like 8, 9, or 10. Most of you that are maybe listening, maybe you went to college and then you started having to network when you got out of college to get a job. And it was probably super uncomfortable. And you probably went to some networking events where you maybe didn't know a lot of people. So think about your children and how they can start building that network today. Another memory that I wanted to share with you is that when I was working for my dad's company, it was a window cleaning company, and I was living in Orlando, going to school, running that division of his company. And I went to a lady's house in Daytona Beach, and it was on the water, 2-story, beautiful house, wraparound porch, Key West style. She had a boat, she had a Mercedes, she had a tanning bed. I mean, gorgeous house. And she was beautiful. And I had said to her, I said, what do you do? And she said, I own a cheerleading school. And I was like, one day I'm going to own a child-based business. Now, this is at 20 or 21. I had no idea that, 10, 15 years later, I would actually own a child-based business. But when I think about the imprint of that, having that thought process and having that memory in my bank, I was like, oh my God, I was basically foreshadowing my life because I was exposed to other people. I was working, and it's not like I really liked cleaning windows, but I was around other people where it created opportunities and it shed some light on what the life could be if I wasn't washing windows. So once again, I just want you kind of to take some time and reflect. If you're feeling lost, go back into your memory bank, go back and think about your childhood, or maybe sometime in high school, or maybe a conversation you had with an individual that maybe could inspire you, give you hope, or maybe like create some life in the future as well. And you'll be surprised of all these conversations and these people that you've met across along the way and how that is impacting your life today. And I think it's just absolutely powerful as well. So once again, I just wanted to come on and just remind us to reflect, maybe look back on our past, maybe think of maybe some messages that we were unclear about that maybe could be super clear for you now. And as you're thinking like the second half of the year, who is it that you want to become? What is it that you want to be doing? How do you want to own your life, own your decisions, and own your time? It's your life. You only have one of them. So make it the best. And remember to take care of yourself first so you can take care of others.
Thanks for listening to the Stroke It podcast today. If you want to stroke me, please consider giving me a 5-star review, sharing this podcast with 5 of your favorite friends or someone you may think could benefit from the podcast, and consider joining my collective. It's completely free for the first 30 days, and you can go to jennysfreegift.com.